Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Benjamin Z. Miller Investor Networking Group. It is so nice to see everyone here. We've got investors that are from around the world. We have these meetings every Sunday. So in this presentation, we're going to talk about a way to make money doing what's called wholesale real estate. And it is often a popular way to make money with real estate if you're just starting in the real estate game and you don't have a lot of capital, a lot of cash of your own. Wholesaling is a great method to make money. It's fairly simple, where you locate a property, you negotiate hard a cash price, usually from a motivated seller, and then instead of you'll sign a contract with the seller, but instead of you closing the contract where you actually complete the sale, you will go to another party that has cash. That's some investor that's sitting on a large stockpile of cash, and you will say, hey, I've got a contract for $120,000. This asset is worth $200,000. I will sell you this contract for $30,000. You can pay $150,000. You've got $50,000 in equity, and then you can make a nice profit on that sort of a deal. So what is it? It's just a method of basically selling a contract. So you're not actually selling real estate. This is something that people get a little confused on. You're selling a contract to purchase real estate. So if you're good at negotiating, and if you can talk really well, and you can locate a motivated seller that's going through a situation where they will accept a far lower than market value offer, you can sign a contract, and then you can sell that contract to another investor, and you can pocket the cash in 30 days, 60 days, something like that. So it's kind of a cool technique. So one question that sometimes is asked is, how can you sell something you don't own? Well, once again, you're not selling something you don't own. You have, by virtue of signing a contract with that seller, you have obtained an equitable interest in that. You've got the right to purchase that. And the fact that you chose not to exercise your right to purchase it and instead sell your right to purchase it to another party is called wholesale real estate. This isn't just done in real estate. This can be done in virtually any area. But real estate, it's well known. It's also an easier thing to sell, because it's one thing to get a contract to purchase a business. The number of buyers of a business are very small usually, but real estate, a lot of people will buy real estate. So it's relatively easy to sell. But you could do the same thing with houses, with cars, with equipment. It all works the same way. So in almost every country, almost every state in the United States, contracts are assignable. This is normally the way they are. They're usually assignable unless the contract is specifically defined as not being assignable. But kind of the default in most countries and regions is that contracts are assignable. So when you fill out the contract, you're going to put it in as your name and or assigns. And that makes it where you have the clear legal right to sell the contract to someone else. And we'll talk about how that works. So with that sort of thing, you may get a question from the seller. Oh, why do you have your name and or assigns? And the answer to that can be several things. It could be, well, I may take title to it in a new limited liability company that I'm going to form, a holding company, and it's not set up yet. So I put it that way so that I can do it that way. Another option is, you can say, sometimes I close on real estate with my business partners, so I put it in that way. Or if you want to just tell the seller, you can tell him, well, I'm going to try to make money wholesaling this deal. And some sellers will be okay with you doing that. You've got options on what you tell the seller. You just have to figure out what's the best thing that you say to the seller. So how does this work? And I really like this illustration here. It shows an animal called a weasel. And a weasel is an animal that is very hard to catch, because they're very flexible, they're very maneuverable, and they're just hard to get a hold of. And in contracts, there is what's called a weasel clause. So a weasel clause is something that allows you to back out of the contract for any reason. So a normal contract, they try to lock it up with a lot of different things. They may ask for a lot of earnest money. They may try to file a lawsuit if you don't buy it. I mean, theoretically, this could happen. It's unlikely. Most of the time, if a deal fails, they just get angry and give up and go away. But you will, if you have enough deals, find a few people that want to file a lawsuit, but it's rare. So, but if you put in a weasel clause, they're not going to win that lawsuit. It's far harder. So what are some examples of weasel clauses? Well, let's give a few examples of weasel clauses. Subject to my business partner's approval. So I'm going to buy this real estate subject to my business partner's approval. I'm going to buy this piece of real estate subject to obtaining bank financing, or subject to obtaining financing that is acceptable to me. These are examples of weasel clauses. So you throw in a weasel clause in your contract, and that gives you the ability to back out if you can't put the deal together. And the financing contingency is a weasel clause. A due diligence period, a great weasel clause is subject to passing buyer's full inspection. So you could cancel that contract because you saw the bush, the tree, and you didn't like the way it looked and it failed your inspection. Technically, that could be part of your due diligence and your inspection. So you can cancel it for any reason, subject to your partner's approval, subject to the sale of another property. You may have some other real estate that before you are going to purchase this real estate, you have to sell this. There's hundreds of weasel clauses that are out there. These are just a few examples. So if you're going to be a wholesaler, you have to remember to put your weasel clause in your contract. Now you want to focus on off market. That is so important. And I've got a short clip here that I'm going to talk about.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about off-market real estate versus on-market real estate, and which is the right choice. So you want to avoid on-market deals. So anything that you see that's advertised for sale publicly, maybe it's on the multiple listing service. Maybe there's a real estate agent that put a sign in the yard. Maybe if it's a commercial deal, it's on LoopNet advertised for sale. You want to avoid these things. You don't want to go near them. You're just going to use a lot of your time and energy chasing the deals that all the other investors are chasing, okay? You've got to find your own deals, and you only want off-market. Now, why off-market? Okay, first of all, let me say this. Is it possible to find a deal every now and then that's on the market? Yes, it is. Is it possible to make money on a listed deal? Of course it's possible, but it's a lot harder. You want to stack the odds in your favor. You don't want to be doing this the hard way. You want to do it the easy way. And the easy way is you go out there and you generate your own leads for motivated sellers, and then you're going to sort them to determine which sort of sellers are motivated, which are not motivated. And I'll go through that in another lesson, how to quickly do that. But let's just go through it again because I want to make it crystal clear. If you get on the internet and you see it as for sale, where there's some real estate agent that has a listing that they're offering it, you don't call that agent. Don't waste your time. You don't even want to talk to them. It's just a waste of time. Basically, if you pick up the phone and call the real estate agent is going to try to sell you on buying the property. That's what they do. So they're going to use all of their sales skills to try to sell you. So if you tell them you're an investor, they're going to encourage you to make an offer. Then they're going to tell you that they want to see, that you've got all the money lined up, ready to go, and they're going to do their absolute best sales pitch. You don't want any of that. You don't even want to talk to them. You're just wasting time. Don't chase those deals. That's not an effective way. It's so much easier to find an off-market deal. What's an off-market deal? An off-market deal is one that is not advertised as for sale. So you don't want to go and make 100 lowball offers on listed properties. The reason you don't want to do that is it's going to waste either a lot of your time, or if you've got some real estate agent that's a new agent that you've convinced them that it's a great idea to work with you as a buyer's agent, where they're going to go out and make offer after offer at 50 or 60 cents on the dollar. It's just going to waste time. Because even on the ones where you do occasionally get the seller to say yes, there's normally a bunch of offers that come in right at the wrong time that are lined up with, fantastic financing, proof of funds, all of this. You don't make life hard. Go for the easy money, and the easy money is off market. So don't pay any attention to what the other investors are doing. Don't worry about it. You're going to keep it simple. And basically, you could do something as simple as going and knocking on doors in a particular neighborhood. And when the person opens the door, you could say, hey, I'm looking to buy a property in this neighborhood and I wanted to see if you guys might consider selling this house. If you go knock on 100 doors, you're going to find a deal. You go knock on 3, 4, 500 doors, you're going to find a deal. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you need to go knock on doors. I'm just using it as an example. There's many ways to build a pipeline. But if you go to a house and there's a for sale sign and it has a real estate agent, don't just walk on by. Don't waste your time talking to them. Don't call the real estate agent. Leave that to the ones that want to do that. That's the hard way. Okay. Every now and then I meet these guys that are investors and they tell me about, oh, how good they're doing with on-market deals. If an investor has the skill to make money with an on-market deal where you have to go and successfully compete against all the other investors that are chasing deals, and he successfully wins, that guy's got a lot of talent. And if he takes that same talent and energy to be able to apply it to off-market deals, he'll do 10 times better, if not 100 times better. And the other thing, you don't think that these real estate agents are going to necessarily help you. They just are trying to size up if you can actually buy it. No, they'll be friendly. I'm not saying, there's a wide range of agents. Some will help, maybe some won't, but I'm just trying to make it short and simple where you don't waste a lot of time. That real estate agent, if you do successfully get the seller to accept what they would have accepted, your crazy offer of, $10 in earnest money or nothing, and it's all contingent on you getting a loan. That real estate agent, number one, he's probably, when he presents the offer, he's going to basically talk down about it to the seller because he's embarrassed to present it because he knows it's a flimsy offer. And he doesn't, he feels bad about even presenting your lowball offer. So what you want to do is you want to basically deal with the seller directly. And the beauty of it is the seller can say yes. And the seller doesn't always have all the latest analysis in terms of exactly what the property is worth. And sometimes if you just ask them, what would you sell the property for me, to me for, they will say a number that is different than the market value. But since you didn't come in and ask them, you said, what would you sell it to me for? You very often will get a surprise where they may quote a different thing. That when we go through the negotiation piece, I'll cover that in a lot more detail, how to quickly get that done. But don't waste any time chasing on-market deals. If after you make money with off-market deals, if you want to make it harder on yourself, go chase some on-market deals. Okay, and then you can do that if that's entertaining to go through that extra hassle. So that's the most important thing. You got to be doing off-market. It's the only way to go.
So that is really an absolutely key thing to be able to work the off market, because if you try to talk to a bunch of real estate agents, you're not gonna get anything done. There's just too much competition. How do you find deals? This is just an example. There's dozens, hundreds of ways to find off market deals, but I'm just giving a few examples. One of the simplest is you could knock on doors if you're in a nice neighborhood, not a dangerous neighborhood in the United States, but if you're in a nice neighborhood that's more expensive properties where it's not some ghetto war zone, you could knock on doors and you could say, hey, I'm interested in buying a property in this neighborhood. Have you ever thought about selling your property? And then they'll say, no, we're not going to sell it. But if you talk to 20 people, one of them will say, I might be interested in selling. I've got to move. Oh, well, I can buy it. And then you have found an off-market deal where there's not a real estate agent blocking you from negotiating with the seller. You can also put out signs. These are very effective. Everybody's so obsessed with Facebook where they think it's the only way to market. In reality, sometimes old-fashioned things like signs work very nicely. Just a sign that says cash for houses, cash for apartments. People will call and say, I've got an apartment that I want to sell for cash. And when they call you, they don't have a real estate agent that's helping them because the real estate agent will tell them not to call you. So how do you find motivated sellers? You can also call people that are advertising real estate for sale, but you only want to call the real estate that the seller is advertising for sale. So if it's a real estate agent that represents the seller, don't call. But if you see something that's a for sale by owner, you can call. But even when you call, you've got to tell them right away you don't want the property that they are offering for sale. And then you ask them, do you have any other properties that are for sale? So you would call up and you would say, Mr. Seller, I see you've got this property, 123 Main Street. I'm not interested. I don't want that property, but I wanted to find out if you might have any other properties that are for sale. And that will confuse them because they're not used to being told that. And they'll say, well, I do have another rental property, but it's not listed on the market. And then you say, that's exactly what I'm interested in. Let's try to do a deal on that one. Now you've cut out 99% of your competitors that don't even know that it's for sale. So that's the important thing. You've got to find off-market deals or you're not going to go anywhere. You also, of course, can do Facebook. And if you decide to do Facebook, I highly recommend Christopher and Joshua with Faith Digital. They know how to do Facebook ads and they're real good at that. You can go to the city, whatever city you are located in, and you can call up the code violation department. Every city loves to put officers that inspect violations. So they make rules about how things should be. And if the property has violations, they keep an Excel spreadsheet showing the violation. And you can sometimes get the city to give you this list. You could call up the city and you could say, I'm a real estate investor and I'm trying to find properties that have code violations so I can contact the owner and offer to buy the property and then fix the property so the code violation is removed. And the people at the city will sometimes just email you this spreadsheet. Now that depends. Not every city will do that, but there's no harm in asking. And sometimes you can find people at the city that work at the city that have access to those lists, and they will share those lists with you if you ask them the right way. So there's a lot of options there. And you want to quickly sort through the motivated seller. This is what stops a lot of new investors is they don't yet know how to figure out if somebody's motivated or not motivated. So they will waste endless time because they found someone that will talk to them and they're happy that they have someone that will talk to them. But you don't want to waste time talking with a seller just because the seller is being nice to you. You want to focus on getting the seller to say the first number, and you need to figure out right away before you go down that road if the seller's motivated or not. How do you know? Well, basically, there's an easy thing that you can do, and I put together a little spreadsheet here that shows how this might look. So let's take the example of a not motivated seller. A not motivated seller will tell you something like, well, you know, for the right price, we might sell, but it would have to be a really good price. That's what a not motivated seller would say. A motivated seller would say, I am 3 months behind on my mortgage payments and I need to sell. I don't care if I get anything out of it. I will sell it for what I owe. That's a motivated seller. A not motivated seller is going to say, you are welcome to bring me an offer and I will consider it. Anything is for sale for the right price. That's a not motivated seller. But a motivated seller might say, I inherited this property and I don't want to fix it up or wait months for it to sell or pay a commission to a real estate agent. That's a motivated seller. A not motivated seller would say, they'll tell you, I'm not motivated. They like to say that, I'm not motivated and I'm not going to take any lowball offers. They try to warn you about making your insulting lowball cash offer. They say, I'm not going to take any lowball offers. Now, if you want to make me a good offer, if you want to make me a serious offer, I'll consider it. That's a not motivated seller. You don't want to waste your time with that guy. Just move on. Just go find another deal. Don't waste your time trying to talk that guy into taking your lowball offer. But a motivated seller might say, we're moving from Texas to Florida and we need to sell. We already purchased another house here in Florida and we need to sell or the house will be vacant. These are examples. And with time, you will get the hang of figuring this out. So you need to also determine the value of the property rather than going through that in a lot of detail. Basically, it's just done by comparing what other things have sold for. And if you need help with that, if you're new to real estate, you can even find a friend or something that's a real estate agent and get them to help you on the buyer side in terms of giving you some guidance on what to offer for your lowball insulting offer. But you want to make about an offer that's 60% of the value, 70% of the value, 50% of the value, or lower. What about earnest money? You want to be careful with earnest money because you need to tell the seller that you're not going to put down earnest money, because the minute you put down earnest money, you have let them get you in an arm bar where if you make a mistake and you can't close the deal, you are going to suffer and lose that money. And I'm proud to say I have never once in all the transactions I've been involved with lost money to a seller. But I've had multiple buyers lose earnest money to me. And it's because, if you're selling, you want to make sure you get earnest money. And if you're buying, you want to make sure you don't put down earnest money. So that's something that's important. And you can just explain to the seller, well, look, you're not going to get any of the money if I don't buy the property. And then they'll say, well, what about earnest money? You're not going to get that either if I don't buy the property. That'll actually work against us because I'll have to cancel the deal if something goes wrong more quickly because I won't lose earnest money. But, we can do this deal, and then you can say, look, I'll give you a kick out option. A kick out option is where you tell the seller, look, if another offer comes in that's better, just sell it to them. I don't care. And what you're betting on is that they won't find another buyer because they don't have it marketed and they don't have it listed. And they're unlikely that another buyer is going to pop up if nobody knows it's for sale. That changes a lot if it's actually a listed property. So that's something that's real important. So, you just got to do that. You fill out a contract where you're going to assign it. And I'm just going to show a brief excerpt of this. I'm not going to show the whole clip. But an assignment of contract. So let's imagine that you found a property that has a value of $100,000 and you found a motivated seller that agreed to sell the property to you for $65,000. So you said, okay, Mr. Seller, I'm going to pay you $65,000. And then that was on January 5th. Just as an example. Now let's say that 20 days have passed and you have found an end buyer. Now you've found somebody that's another investor that has money and you don't really want this asset anyway. So you want to sell your contract to the other investor and then have the other investor pay you $10,000. So for the other investor, it's still a good deal because the property's worth $100,000 and they're able to pay $75,000. So they still got $25,000 in equity. It's a good deal for you because you got $10,000 and you didn't have to do anything except sign some papers. So here's how you would do this. So you would come in and first it's going to reference when was the original contract. Let's say it's December 25th. Okay. Between a signor, that is your name, and assignee, this is name of investor buying your contract. Okay, assignor is the buyer. So I will, in the slide deck, I will email this where everybody can look at it. It's got the full recording, but I don't want to spend the time now on it. So full of a couple of announcements. Every Thursday, we have some passive income webinars. And if you are in the situation, maybe you're on the internet and you're watching this and you're thinking, boy, that investing sounds good. I just wish there was a way I could buy some income. Well, we've got you covered. We have some corporate income bonds that you can purchase for a long-term passive income. One of them is by a company called Alamo Mortgage Holdings. Alamo Mortgage Holdings is a company that purchases packages of mortgage notes in the state of Texas. We go in and we negotiate and we buy them at a cheap discount and we negotiate hard. It is so much fun. And then that lets us pay maximum passive income to our bondholders. And another company is Andesite Blue. Andesite Blue is a company that we offer a corporate income bond that you can purchase, and then you can actually earn passive income and you can help rebuild Ukraine with our corporate income bond. So both of these are available. You can go check them out sometime. I do offer a mentoring program if you're on the internet and you're thinking, that guy seems like he knows what he's talking about. I'd like to learn something from that guy. Reach out to me. Just send an email through the contact form or text me or call me and we can get you started. We can get you going. Okay, so that is it for our presentation. I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording and then I'll open it up for any questions.